Yeah, well, yeah, and we've seen it time and again, right?
Yes.
We've seen it.
We
seen
saw
it
it
from
last
Eli
year.
Manning. We've seen it from Tom Brady.
Right.
We've seen it from Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
We didn't see it from Jimmy Garoppolo when he had Emmanuel Sanders wide open
Right.
after the Chiefs had taken the lead in Super Bowl 54. So, it's not like some hot take or some inaccurate read of reality. That's how it works. And those moments are fleeting. And you always think you're going to get back. Remember when Dan Marino, well, you were like 3 years old, but after Dan Marino lost the Super Bowl the first time, his attitude was, I'll have plenty more chances. No, he never had another chance.
Yeah.
Never had another chance. And he didn't even have a chance during that game to make a championship throw because the 49ers kicked his team's ass.
Yeah, no, it's...
Good morning.
You're right. Hey, I'm not arguing anything you're saying. We're just having some fun here on a Thursday morning, but good morning to you, too. And you're right. You don't know how many of those chances you're going to have. I mean, I think you could say the same thing. My father, he was in a Super Bowl, best day he ever had in his life, and I think he thought he'd always get back to 1-2, and then his team got back and he got hurt. So you never know which way it does go, and you got to capitalize in those moments. And of course, there was two big moments in that game where he didn't capitalize.
Same play,
right?
Same play. That's what makes it worse. See, you got me started again in the second half. After a 25-minute intermission where they surely said, hey, this play popped wide open, we threw the underneath, we didn't throw it down the field to Brandon Cooks, we're going to call it again at the right time. That's where you're going. Okay. And he held the ball too long, and he didn't throw an accurate ball, and that was that. So your dad stepped up on the biggest day of his life professionally.
He did.
So, his whole life, from the days of the John Denver without the glasses look at Morehead State,
yes, right?
Working and fighting and scratching and clawing. He got to a Super Bowl, and he had one of the best days any quarterback's ever had on Super Bowl Sunday. He didn't have to make a championship throw because every throw was a championship throw that day for him, except the one or two that he threw. What were his numbers that day?
22 of 25, 22 of 25, and he'll tell you, there was a drop, and then there was another one that was a pass interference that he's got a case for. There's no doubt. He could have been very close to being 24 for 25 in the day.
So he didn't need to throw.
No, you're
in that
right.
Moment,
lots of
in
championship
any moment,
throws that day
because he had lots of them.
Yes,
it was a championship day for him. So look, and we're talking about all of this because there's a rematch of Super Bowl 53 tonight between the Rams and the Patriots. It doesn't feel the same because Tom Brady's gone, but a lot of the other pieces are the same, including the pieces on the Rams, including the coach and the quarterback. And we talk so much about coach and quarterback. It's the same coach, the same quarterback, and we'll see if they can get it done.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's an interesting matchup nonetheless. I mean, yeah, it's not Super Bowl 53. I don't think there's going to be any other, personal aspect here, right? There's too many new players on the Rams and the Patriots both together to where there's nothing personal about that aspect or, we lost, we still got a bitter taste in our mouth. Yeah, that can happen sometimes. But either way, the ramifications for tonight are pretty huge. I mean, it's kind of a must-win for the Patriots, as we know. The Rams, it's not a must-win, but it's a big game to where, seeding, want to win the NFC West, see who you got to play in the first round, all of those type of things. They go into this too. And the bigger thing is the Rams have had issues with New England-type teams this year. They have. The Dolphins whooped their butt down in Miami. Brian Flores from New England. The New York Giants gave the Rams early in the year all they could handle when the Giants weren't even playing good yet. But again, Patrick Graham for the New England Patriots. There is obviously some common knowledge within that coaching regime or coaching tree as far as how to be a pain in the butt for this McVay offense. I think that's really one of the more intriguing things about the matchup tonight.
You were talking about that during the Dolphins-Rams game earlier this year. What is it that is detected by the Belichickian coaching fraternity when it comes to the Rams offense?
It's the 5- and 6-man fronts to stop the speed sweep inside-outside zone combination, right, Mike? I mean, we watch the Rams every week. It's, fake the speed sweep. There goes Robert Woods flying by. And then it's, either give it to him or hand it to the running back. And because Robert Woods flying by, a lot of the times he opens up these weak side gaps because people go with him. So now the running back gets the ball, and people on the backside have flown away from Robert Woods because he's flying out that way. And that gives the running back the opportunity to make a cutback, and there's usually a big lane there. New England found out, and, in the Super Bowl, they were one of the first to do it, where a 5- and 6-man line, yes, you can always have a guy there ready for Robert Woods to take that aspect away, and now we can use the other guys to kind of stop the run game itself and stop the actual running play. And that was one of the basic things they did that has given that offense a problem, and the Giants and the Dolphins both did that alike.
I think that part of it, too, beyond that, is just the relentless pressure on Jared Goff, who is one of those quarterbacks that can't really do a whole heck of a lot when there's pressure in his face. Not that there are many who can, but he's clearly in the category of the guy that can't buy time with his legs. You see a lot of the same rollouts that we see from Kirk Cousins and whatnot, but when he's under duress,
right?
It's kind of like the slow motion gangly, and I'm sorry, but that's just kind of the way he's built. He's there are issues with his throwing motion. It's amazing. I want to be more charitable to Jared Goff. It is kind of amazing he's gotten this far when you watch him play, isn't it?
It is. Again, he's the moments of him being able to carry the team, at least for me, are few and far between. I mean, this is something we've discussed a lot. Hey, when McVay and his little, formula of plays are really clicking on all cylinders and he feels like he's got a defensive in a bind, man, then Jared Goff looks great because now the bootlegs, like you said, and the screens and the play action passes are wide open, and that leads him to getting into a good rhythm. And then the drop back pass game starts to look pretty good off of that too because, hey, he's feeling good. I'm getting completions all over the field. It's the games where New England in the Super Bowl, Miami this year, hey, the Giants, even though they won that football game, and there's, the 49ers when, okay, there's a knowledge of the McVay formula because the 49ers have that too because Kyle Shanahan was with McVay, of course, to where, okay, now those tricks have gone away. Now is Jared Goff going to beat you? And has he beat teams? He has, definitely. But like I said, it's few and far between there. And I think that's the big thing tonight. Because of New England's secondary, they're going to be able to put a lot of people at the line of scrimmage and stop, these combinations that McVay runs. And that's going to make Jared Goff have to drop back and make throws in the football game. And ultimately, I think that's where it's going to come down to. Can he make a handful of throws tonight and not turn the ball over and get positive results out of it to where they win the football game? He throws an interception or two, they'll be flirting with fire, and then they might find a big L after this game's over.
As we have this conversation, I'm perplexed about the fact that the Rams are favored by 5 points, according to our friends at PointsBet.
I thought it was a little much when I saw that last night.
Yeah,
I was a little surprised.
Our picks later today, the PFTPM Chris Simms Unbuttoned Mega Picks podcast. I have a feeling we're both leaning in one direction. Let me throw a curveball at you. I want to throw a curveball at you.
Sure.
Because this speaks to something that Shireen Williams and I were talking about earlier this week on PFTPM. Because one of the things that really confuses me about the NFL when it comes to looking for coaches is that more teams don't at least try, to engineer a transaction where you compensate some other team for the opportunity to lure away their head coach.
Right.
That it isn't even attempted very often. John Gruden, Herm Edwards, when the Jets were ready to get rid of him anyway, to the Chiefs.
Right.
They tried to get Jim Harbaugh to the Browns back in 2014-ish. Let me just – there's a lot of assumptions here, but I'm fascinated by this possibility. And you tell me, if you're Sean McVay and the Chargers come calling and they work out some sort of a deal with the Rams, that's a lot of assumptions.
It is, yes.
If you're Sean McVay and all other things are equal and you're showing up to work in the same stadium anyway, would you rather coach the current collection of Rams players or the current collection of Chargers players?
Oh, it's a close one. It is. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Because there's some young talent on that Chargers team, and of course you got that quarterback there that is very special and can do all the things I believe that we just kind of talked that are not Jared Goff's strengths. Like Justin Herbert is a guy that has showed me enough in moments and, what he's done throughout the year consistently to go, ooh, in the future, he could be a guy, jump on my shoulders, guys. I got this. I'm going to make plays. I'll make throws. I'll get us in the right play and carve you up. But there's something to be said about the culture he set forth there with the Rams. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, a good group of receivers and things there. I don't know if I would abandon ship for that. I don't know if I would. Is good.
You don't like the Chargers receivers?
I do.
On Keenan Allen?
I do. I just don't know if I could. If I'm Sean McVay, they're great. There's a lot of good on that Chargers team. We know it doesn't make sense that they're 3-8 when you have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. That kind of just says it all. That there's been something messed up there. But no, I think McVay has got something special there. They've got championship pedigree. They're battle-tested. I know he could probably bring that there too, but you don't abandon what you got right now to go across town and go to the Chargers, which are, yeah.
My point is it's a lot closer than you would think it is on the surface. It's a lot.
That is 100%.
It would be a tough decision to make.
100%. It is a lot closer. Yes, there's a lot of positions I think you could go through and go, no, I think the Chargers, their unit's better than the Rams here. Their unit's better than the Rams here. So it is. It's a lot closer than the records would suggest. That's for sure.
And for the Rams, the record suggests the inside track to winning a highly competitive NFC West that has gotten less competitive in recent weeks because the Cardinals have fallen off. But as of right now, PointsBet has the Rams at a minus 143 proposition to win the division. That means you bet $143. You win 100 if they win the division. The Seahawks are in second position at plus 120. They're currently holding on to the number 5 spot. They don't have much margin for error, and there will be a Rams-Seahawks rematch coming up in a couple of weeks. It's a game we were talking about yesterday that we're looking forward to seeing play out. Do we think the Rams win this division right now? If you got to pick one or the other, NFC West champion or not, what would you go with?
I would say yes right now. Tonight, I haven't wrapped my head around who I think I'm going to pick to win that football game yet. But after that, it's Jets, come on, and then it's Seattle and Arizona, and I like how they match up with both of those football teams. I mean, we've seen. I mean, they gave Russell Wilson and company all they could handle, and Kyler Murray looked about as averages he's looked in his NFL career last week against the Rams. So for that, yes, I do. And tonight's going to be, of course, like we talked about, a close football game, and we talked about all those, like, positives and things. New England has the advantage of the Rams on offense. But the other side of the ball, man, that Rams defense is the real deal too. I mean, I don't know, Mike. We could see a 9-6, a 13-10 game, a lot like the Super Bowl all over again, because I have a hard time thinking that the Patriots, as great as their run game is and everything there, I have a hard time thinking they're just going to run the ball at will on the Rams, who have good cover guys. And again, just like the Patriots will be able to go, we can load the box and stop the run and trust Jalen Ramsey on N'Keal Harry or whoever is playing receiver that's not that dangerous for the New England Patriots. And that's where I think we're going to see a defensive struggle tonight.
Yeah, and it was a defensive struggle for most of Super Bowl 53. And you don't have Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski to connect with a big play that kind of popped it all open. That's going to be the challenge. At some point, Cam Newton's going to have to make a play with his arm.
Right.
And do we have faith that he can make a play with his arm when he's got Aaron Donald in his face and Jalen Ramsey out there tracking whoever his best receiver is tonight?
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing of the game. I think they will be able to protect him just because of their run game, and they do such a good job up front of, being in the right place, and they're not going to let Aaron Donald get too many one-on-one opportunities. But I can't imagine throwing the ball being real successful for this New England team tonight. No, I mean, you said it. This secondary for the Rams, young but talented, very talented. Brandon Staley, in his own right, is Belichickian in his weekly defensive game plans, where he's awesome. He's a rising star in the business. So I even with all that, the Rams know the Patriots are going to run the ball, and they're going to load the box. And you know what the Patriots are going to do? They're going to still run the ball. They're going to still go, we don't give a damn. There's 9 guys there. This is what we do. We're going to run the football. And it's going to be a battle of wills because the Patriots, they can't play any other way. So they're used to it. They're not like, oh, we're outnumbered in the box, and now we're going to throw the ball to our great matchup out here. No, they just go, all right, guys, we've been teaching you all week. This is the best play we can do against this front. Let's figure it out. Let's block it. Boom, bam, boom, and see how it goes. And more times than not, they open up and move people and do that. So that's where it's going to be fun to watch because the Rams are not real big up front. They're going to have to do it with numbers, not actual size and girth.
And this is a critical game for the New England Patriots. Yes, it's important for the Rams, but they can get away with an L tonight and still find their path to January. The Patriots, on the other hand, at 6-6 in a highly competitive AFC. They lose tonight, they may be done. Steve Kornacki had the playoff percentage at 21 for the Patriots, even after they obliterated the Chargers in the same stadium where they'll be playing tonight, 45-0. 21%. I like those. Well, I don't like 21%. I think the Patriots have a better than 21% chance in my own kind of pasta and meatballs gut feel, just because I'm tainted by the last 20 years of what we've seen.
Sure.
The Patriots get into a bind. They find a way out of it. It's not going to be easy, but it does begin tonight. They need this one badly, Chris, and they don't have an easy road.
No.
They've got the Bills and the Dolphins lurking. That is not the quickest and simplest path to the postseason. If the Patriots get there, they will have earned it.
Yeah, toughest schedule in football this year. And I don't think it really, it bared out any different. It wasn't like the year started. We're like, the teams we thought were going to be good were crappy and all that. No, they got everybody that was good, and everybody that was supposed to be good was good. And that's a pain in the butt. But how can you count them out? You're right. It's a must-win game. I think if they lose, I really don't see how they can make it happen. I mean, they're going to have to, too many miracles will have to happen at this point. But how many times have we counted them out this year? I mean, the Ravens game, didn't think there was any chance they could win that. I mean, can they contain Kyler Murray? Because they couldn't contain Deshaun Watson the week before. Can they do it to Kyler Murray? Oh, bam, they did that. No problem. Have beat the Raiders. We've seen them beat quality football teams. And we know they're going to come up with a proper game plan tonight to put their team in the best chance to win the football game. But, too, Mike, must win, played 4 days ago, and I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at Pro Football Talk yesterday. Did they have the longest injury list in football this week? I mean, they're a beat-up football team, too. That worries me about tonight a little, too.
Yeah, I never quite know with Bill Belichick, though.
You're right.
He has a tendency to put 30 guys
put everybody on there.
As questionable. Yeah. So, and they went out to L.A. for this trip, and I just wonder how much winning 45-0 as easily as they did in such a fluky way. How do you clear that it's a positive fog, but how do you go back to 0-0 to start another game when you have so easily rolled up that many on a team like the Chargers? That I think that makes it harder to get back on the horse 4 days later. I think you need more time to recover from and accept the fact that those games don't happen very often at all, and don't think that all of a sudden you're going to start blowing people out.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get to that. I mean, you're right. I feel like most teams might fall in a trap in this kind of week, but not New England, not with Bill Belichick, and not with how every game has been very hard for them this year. I mean, every game. So I think they realize, hey, that was a great break. Oh, my gosh, that was unbelievable. But, hey, let's not forget we had to drive down and be perfect twice to beat the Jets in New York. And, they've had a lot of other games where they had to play their best the last few drives of the game to beat a team that was not very superior or very good in general. So I would have a hard time thinking they lose sight of that fact. And they're going to be on their game and realize the importance of tonight and what it's all about.
They have 15 players on the injury report going into tonight's game, and they all have the label of questionable. Every damn one of them is listed as questionable, and they all were limited in practice all week long. And it may just be that he's resting these guys.
It could be
after playing on Sunday,
right?
And they know what they have up against them tonight. And you look at the Rams. The Rams have one guy with a questionable tag, and that's kicker Matt Gay. Everybody else who's on the injury report has no designation, meaning that they are good to go. So I just wonder whether this is just part of the siege mentality Bill Belichick is trying to hammer into his guys because he knows what it's going to take to get to the playoffs. You could argue their road to the playoffs, the 4 games that they need to get there, I'm not going to say they're hard or as hard as what it'll be when you get there. But see, the thing is, the teams they're facing the rest of the way don't have that same win or go home.
Yeah, the desperation.
That you have when you get to the playoffs.
Right.
So you could argue it is harder now because you're not going to catch someone who's maybe freaked out by the moment because they know if they lose, it's over. Any of these teams, other than the Jets, and it doesn't matter, it's over for them already anyway, but for the Rams, Dolphins, and Bills, they can get away with an L to the Patriots. The Dolphins, it may be a little sketchier based on what they otherwise do, but the Rams and the Bills are getting to the party, even if they lose to the Patriots. And I just think that gives it a different mindset. It's not going to be easy. You could argue it's going to be easier for the Patriots to climb the ladder in January than it will be for them to climb the ladder in December.
Well, I hear you there. I do. I mean, either way, though, I think like the Rams tonight, they feel the pressure a little bit. They do. They know where they are in their standings in the NFC West and all of that. And, after that, hey, like the Buffalo Bills, they win this week and beat Pittsburgh and do those type of things. And I don't know, you don't know what happens with Kansas City. All of a sudden, they could look at themselves when they're playing New England going, wait, we can be the number 1 seed. I mean, what if the Chiefs lose to the Dolphins and the Saints this next 2 weeks? What if that happens? I mean, it's a very real possibility, and then everything's going to be shook up. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think that could happen, even though it's the Chiefs and they always find a way to win. But I get your point either way. And the Patriots are going to have to play they're going to have to do what they've been doing. They have to play almost perfectly every football game. I mean, it's perfect. And that's where, like, Cam Newton, the stats don't blow you away or anything like that. But it's not like you turn on the film and you're like, whoa, people are flying around wide open all over the field. No wonder the stats aren't good. He's not hitting people and not seeing them. No, he is. They're taking advantage of every yard and like millimeter they can possibly take advantage of in that New England offense. And Cam Newton, it's throwing the ball well, managing the game the right way, not making mistakes. They have no room for error. And I think, they'll play that way tonight and give the Rams all they can handle.
He's one of the 15 players listed as questionable with the lingering abdomen injury. We fully expect that he will play. He played on Sunday, and there's no reason to think that injury was aggravated. But, look, he started off, and he was a semi-shortlist MVP candidate. He had the COVID diagnosis. It took him several weeks to fight his way back to where he was, and now he's doing just enough. It's quite a contrast from 5 years ago when he was the MVP. Now he's just doing enough, and some weeks it's good enough, some weeks it isn't. Lately it has been good enough more often than not. And to finish where we started, Chris, with Jared Goff, this is a test for him too, between the ears. Can he step up against this Patriots team if they are confusing him at the line of scrimmage, if they're sending guys after him, if they're taking away things that the Rams like to do? How can Goff react? And if there is a play that Sean McVay has concocted that will spring a guy wide open, will Goff make the throw this time? That's really the question. Wouldn't that be great? There's no Brandon Cooks, right? But they still have Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. You pop one of those guys wide open. Is he going to see him, and is he going to make the throw?
You know what they call that. You know what he's got to do, right?
Well, it's not a championship throw because the championship isn't on the line.
Well, it's a practice. It's
changes.
a practice. It's a practice for the championship throw.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
It's not. There's only that moment once in your life. If you're lucky, there's two.
Right.
And Jared Goff's trying to get back to be in position to have that second shot to do what he failed to do.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.